Hey, you're not Mike.
No, I'm
Hey,
not. I'm not
hey,
your
Ed. Welcome everybody to Pop Culture Squadcast Live. Mike's a little under the weather tonight. Ed is filling in early. Ed was going to be our guest, but as a member of Pop Culture Squad, he's joining me early for our dialogue, and then we'll talk about some early stuff, and then we'll kind of get into Ed's things, which are numerous.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, if I'm Michael Light, that's the highlight of my week. I love it, Bob.
Well, listen, you and I are both pretty good at filling in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Maybe sometime, I don't know, maybe the Squadcast, I'll tell you my Mike Gold story, how he crashed where I was working, and then we got to be great friends. And hey, Sherry.
Oh,
And
I like that. I
he's
don't know that
a
story.
great guy. Man, I
I
love
need
it.
that story for the book.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Um, we're gonna get into a bunch of stuff, and folks who are watching or are watching this later, stay tuned because later on in the show, in our second hour, we're gonna have the hosts of the Comic Book Couples Counseling Podcast, who are two of the most wonderful people in and around comics. And we're gonna talk about their life in comics, and also we're going to talk specifically about their new video podcast called In the Stacks, which is fantastic. We'll get into that later. But in the meantime, let's get started with some of the news of the day. All right,
I'm ready.
We'll talk about film and TV news first. There was some news that came out today. So we're gonna do one of my favorite podcasts is the Daily Beans by MSW Media Network, and it is news with swearing, and I love it. But one of the things they do is they'll read some news stories or parts of news stories, and then comment on it. So we're gonna take a little bit of a from them. So from NBC News, here is the news of the day. This is as of this afternoon. Warner Brothers Discovery today said Tuesday that Paramount Skydance's revised bid for the entire company, including its cable networks, could be preferable to Netflix's deal for its studio and streaming business. The updated offer raises the purchase price to $31 a share from $31, a deal that would value Warner Brothers Discovery at roughly $77 billion. Wow. The proposal includes $7 billion reverse termination fee if regulators block the deal, along with reimbursement for Warner Brothers Discovery's potential cost to cancel the deal with Netflix. The board of directors at Warner Brothers Discovery said in a news release that it has not made a final decision as to which offer is better. Netflix would have 4 business days to submit another offer if the board decides to go with Paramount's bid. The statement hinted that WBD may try to get Paramount to increase its bid, still saying that it would engage further with the CBS owner.
Holy smokes.
According to WBD, the Netflix merger agreement remains in effect, and the board continues to recommend in favor of Netflix's transaction and is not withdrawing or modifying its recommendation. Media analysts at research firm MoffettNathanson suggested in a recent client note that an offer at around $34 a share would effectively end the bidding war. Netflix declined to comment on the latest developments.
Jeez. Wow, there's so many wrinkles, and the news keeps coming. Just when I think I've kind of figured it out, it seems to change again. I probably will. I should use this opportunity to interject. I'm reading this fantastic book.
Yeah.
It's Robert Evans's book, The Kid Stays in the Picture, and he was a Hollywood mogul, and there's a lot of Paramount stuff in the old days, like the late 60s. And as I'm like learning about Paramount in those days, I don't know, I guess I always kind of thought like it was a thing or it's this giant monolith, but in the past 50 years, it's changed from this studio that was like, out of the top 10, it was like number 12, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with it, to now this such an incredible powerhouse.
Well, it helps when the second richest man in the world owns it.
Yeah, it's changed hands, of course, over the years, and
and I mean, to be honest with you, we've been we've been talking about this for a bit on the show, and I felt that it was done. That
I did too.
and then I saw last week that there was another 5 days of negotiation that had to be opened, according to the contract, and I was a little surprised that this came out today. I'm there's a very big part of me that is not in favor of Paramount taking over. Of Paramount taking over Warner Brothers Discovery, and a big part of that has to do with CNN being part of it. Because Paramount owning CBS and CNN is not good, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Is CNN still relevant though? I mean, there is a thing like, oh my goodness.
I think they are. They are. People think they are. People think they are. They are. They are. If someone doesn't want, let's put it this way. I feel that if someone wants to be kept up to date on news and wants to know what's going on in the world at any time, and they don't want to be.
Oh,
so
and
they don't want to.
Tapper, like, please don't do it. Don't do it, people.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah, well, they are.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's big news, but it's big news here because it affects DC Comics,
Yeah, sure.
They are, and Warner Brothers and DC Studios. It's something that's gonna the change of hands for Warner Brothers Discovery is going to change the media consumption landscape one way or the other, however it happens.
Sure it will. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I think one of the things that people, and I'm not sure where you guys netted out, but like there was a lot of concerns about Netflix and their focus on theatrical or not doing theatrical and where that would all stand. And I'm not sure if any of us really know the answer to that. I think there's a lot of fears and anxiety about it, but that's a whole piece of the puzzle too.
I know that was a big concern. I don't think that is going to make or break the difference. I don't think this is going to change the path that we're on one way or the other. We're either on that path or we're not. And I think we are. The way that people consume film is different today than it was 20 years ago. It's different today, 20 years ago, than it was even before that. And it's going to continue to change. Hopefully in a way that continues to build the industry and for the industry to have legs, for people and creatives to get paid.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way: the stars will always get paid. Let's be honest. We're concerned about the gaffers and the grips and the character actors.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the extras, everybody. Yeah. And it is. I think you're absolutely right. Like I can see at both ends of the age spectrum how things have changed so much. It's rare to find younger people who want to go see a movie in the theater, and then older people. I think like my peers are very comfortable, just watching something at home and not going to the theater, except maybe for some of the big blockbusters. And that's as a guy who used to love to go to the theater, there was a while we'd go every Sunday and just see what was there. And it seems like yesterday, but that was probably 20 years ago. Like that's not the way we do it anymore.
Yep, I agree. All right, we're going to change topics a little bit, but that was a big one. That was a big news today. So we're going to go to some comic news roundup. Some things we need to talk about. Last week we mentioned it a little bit on the show because it just started, but last week was Comics Pro I think it was in Anaheim. It was in California. Comics Pro is a collection of comic book retailers. It's a nonprofit, I think, or whatever. So anyway, it's a collection of
a trade organization.
It's a trade show for comic retailers, and it has evolved into a great place for publishers to show up and talk about what they have coming and how they can help them. There was a ton of news that came out of that. And a lot of it was so exciting. A lot of the news in the world is in the comics world is very exciting. And I've talked to some people about where comics is today, and I just feel like it's the best it's been in a long time. There's so much variety. And so if you don't, I don't know, there was this guy who wrote an article about, hey, I didn't really like the latest Green Lantern run, but there's plenty of other stuff out there that I do like and I can go watch. I don't know who this guy is. He could be sitting next to me. But if you go on popculturesquad.com, you'll see a nice little article in the With Further Ado column about exactly that. So, I mean, why don't you expand on that a minute?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I was a guy who, read way too many Green Lantern stories and loved them. And especially I was at that age when the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil stuff was like rocking the world and it was so relevant. And all the different things. So the newest, I bought a bunch of comics and I bought 2 issues of that Green Lantern series. And I like a lot of the DC stuff lately, but I felt like that was very juvenile. The artwork and the storyline, even the way the characters acted. And, it's kind of like, oh, how disappointing. But, in reality, it was fine, right? For like, it wasn't my cup of tea, but there was so much else. And I bought like a bunch of other comics and everything else I really, really enjoyed. And there's, a whole bunch of other comics that I really need to get. Some of them are old timey characters like Tom King's Wonder Woman and, a bunch of like indie things. And there's a plethora. Like I don't have enough time and bandwidth and money to buy everything I want and to read everything I want. So, if there's some things that don't suit me, and I'll bet that Green Lantern series is great for different folks. Like it probably was scratching the itch that different folks had. God bless them. That's great. And that makes me happy. And if comic stores can make money selling that book to those folks and some, Conan from Titan to me, that's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's a ton of stuff. And let's be honest, there is even more coming. We've talked about let's talk for a second about DC. They had a lot of announcements last week. They're in the middle of this big event that I care less about.
Me too. I'm glad you said that. But I like the DC books, but
no, I totally do. There's so much to read. There's so many things that I'm just ignoring the event. And to be honest with you, there are books that I do like that are tied into the event that I can't wait for the event to be over so I could read those books again and enjoy them and not have to go, I don't really understand what's going on because I'm not reading this other thing over here. And you're trying to jam too much into this. There's a lot of that. But this next level thing looks good. They're bringing back some very interesting characters. I'll tell you, this was the thing. They made this announcement. I think it was at San Diego or New York or wherever. I think it was New York about next level, and they've got a whole bunch of new ongoings for some older characters, some like kind of like B-list or C-list characters. And I was like, well, all right, well, I'm interested in some of those. One of the ones I was not interested at all in, well, of course, was Lobo, because I don't care for Lobo. I don't care for the anti-hero. But then they come out with Lobo and they announce that it's Scotty Young writing it and Jorge Corona drawing it. And how can I not get that? Like, it's like that's they got me because that creative team is fantastic. Have you read anything by them?
Yeah, no. Oh, Scotty Young, yes, not the artist.
No. Yeah. Scotty and Jorge, they're magic.
Yeah.
They are. They did Middle West. I think was the first thing they did together. You should read that book.
Oh yeah.
And then they did the Me That You Love in the Dark, and
yep. Okay, I know that book. Yeah.
And they did the one about the Western where she goes and fights death. They're fantastic. They're so good together. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get that book.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to get Batwoman with Greg Rucka and Danny.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Yep. I'm looking forward to Jonah Hex, and that'll be great too.
Well, we don't know. So that's the thing. There was a bunch of stuff that came out this week. We found out that there is a Jonah Hex book. We don't know who's writing or drawing it. We found out about the Dead Man book that is going to be written by W. Maxwell Price, I think, Prince.
Yeah.
And I forget who the other one is. There's so much stuff, I like a lot of the Absolute books.
Sure.
I like the Black Label stuff. I like the Elseworld stuff. DC is doing good stuff, putting good creatives together.
Sure. And there's plenty. Like, I haven't jumped on the Absolute Batman thing, but I love Absolute Martian Manhunter. And
okay, great. I love that. It stopped showing up in my pull box, and so I have to go back and grab it. But I did love that. I love Absolute Wonder Woman. I like Absolute Superman a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and there's a new Firestorm. I'm gonna throw this out there. If you follow me on social media, if you follow me on Blue Sky, I posted something yesterday or the day before, and I miss the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh, I know.
They're coming back. They have announced that Josh Williamson is going to be writing Legion of Superheroes. There's no time frame. I love Josh. We're going to try and get him on the show, hopefully around that time, so we can get some more information. But we've reached out to his folks, and I talked to him directly. He's definitely looking. The ongoing was 2013 for Legion of Superheroes.
Oh yeah, I lost you for a second there. The what ongoing was 2013?
The last ongoing for Legion of Superheroes was 2013. There's the Bendis run in the middle of that. There was 12 issues and another 5 issue series on the side or whatever it was. But that didn't work.
You're not counting that. Yeah.
I'm not counting it. I love Brian and the artist Brian Sook is fantastic.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Legion at all. And so my point was, yeah, something's wrong with the connection. I guess am I good now? Am I good now?
I think you're good now. Yeah.
Right, good. Oh, so people in this house need to stop streaming stuff. Anyway.
Legion was such a long-lived, wonderful book, and man, like those Levitz issues, with Giffen and beyond, like that was a big part of my college experience. And
sure, well, I was in high school.
Great buddy Paul Haskell, that was the only book he read, and we bonded, like he didn't care for all the other stuff. And yeah, it was fantastic. And I think sometimes it is hard, like some of the things that seem awkward about it, like all young white people in the future, and like working on some of those things. And you could argue the Bendis thing maybe went too far on that, but there's
I don't necessarily want to argue that. I think I understand the point of it. But here's the thing. Make new ones characters. There's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't matter about tone or whatever. Like, the one of the things, we can go long on this, but someone in the 31st century doesn't have the same lived experience as someone in the 21st century. So your skin color, while it means a lot here in terms of your lived experience, I don't know that it would mean that much different things there. So yes, while you're getting representation, that's great, but you're not getting a similar experience. But beyond that, I think the biggest thing that I kind of put out there was the Legion of Superheroes does not have to have a member of the L family as an active Legionnaire. For most of the time when I was reading it, there wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So that time when Superboy left and went back to the past. And then it was just the whole Great Darkness saga and all that. There was no Superman around. There was no Superboy. There was not even a Supergirl for most of it. And it worked great. And I think that when they brought it back again a couple of times, we're talking about the Legion of Superheroes now, but I think that people at DC need to understand that they don't need to have Superboy to be with the Legion of Superheroes. Legion of Superheroes weren't inspired by this, hero.
Sure. Yeah. I think you can be a Legion fan and kind of squint. And it's not like, oh, they had a friendship with Superboy, but maybe they read books and it was the legend. And, that guy kind of inspired them. And yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me. I remember I really liked Wade's take with one of his reboots where Supergirl was convinced they were all a dream. She's like, well, you're not real. I'm not even going to get upset because I know I'm having some sort of weird dream. I'm like, no, we really are Supergirl. We are real.
Yeah.
So
again, DC came out with a whole bunch of great stuff this week. There's so many good ongoings that are going on. We had Dan Waters on last week talking about Nightwing and how that's still going. Marvel has a lot of really cool stuff coming out this soon. Their solicits are out. Image is still, coming out with fantastic things between the Ghost Machine and what
love all the Ghost Machine stuff. Holy smokes.
Yeah, absolutely. The Invincible stuff. There's a bunch of Spawn stuff. I'm not really a huge Spawn guy, but there's plenty of people loving it.
Yeah.
There's so many good things. There's so many good books that are continuing. Feral number 23 is solicited. Like the fact that you're getting indie books up to issue 23 and beyond,
Yeah,
I think is a very good thing for the industry. Our good friend Chris Longo had some good announcements over there.
Yeah, go Chris. Panic, absolutely.
Yeah, for Panic Entertainment. They announced a new slate of books. Finally announced the Accessories by David Dastmalchian and Leah Kilpatrick. They announced a distribution deal or some sort of packaging deal with Rocket Ship Entertainment, which is also friends of ours. Lots of really, really cool stuff going on out there. And what was the last thing I wanted to say? Oh, this was big news. This is big news. This is big industry news. Boom Studios. Did you hear this one?
No.
Boom Studios is going to make all of their comics returnable.
Oh wow! They announced that at Comics Pro.
Yep. They have announced that let's see. We're going to
that's a tricky thing, and I think
it's only on A covers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay.
Only A covers, but they're all returnable.
Wow.
And I don't think it's just on ones. I think it's on all issues.
Wow. Yeah, and the interesting thing, and I'm sure most of the listeners, know this already, but if a book is returnable, a retailer might be more inclined to buy it and think, well, if it's a real stinker, I'll return it. But in reality, not all of them get returned that you think would get returned, right? Like in reality, it's like a safety net that only certain people use, or a certain percentage of retailers actually use. So,
well, I think here's my hope, right? My hope is that issue 2s are higher ordered. Because that is the one of the current problems with ordering comics that shops have is that they have to order issue 1, and before issue 1 hits their shop, the FOC on issue 2 is out. And they don't know who's going to take the ones that they picked up off their shelf and say, "Oh, I want issue 2." Well, there's already passed order.
Yeah.
and they only ordered 2 of issue 2 because they don't know if this book's gonna hit. It's
Right.
but but it might, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's this fine line that we've been. I feel like it's a razor edge that's been cutting people up left and right. Like,
Sure.
both publishers and creatives and retailers. And I think that having that opportunity, I hope it people take advantage of it, and I hope that um, that it works well for Boom as well.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah, I hope so too. That'd be great. Yeah, and I think that, like, even as you started saying, like, it's a great time for fans and for readers, but still, I see a lot of comic shops really struggling, and
They are.
some of the books numbers are not great, and that's really hard for all the smaller publishers. So, yeah, we the more that can be in the mix that will really help raise all ships is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. One last thing, and then I want to talk about some other things that are more Ed Catto centric.
Oh
But
yeah, sure. My favorite subject.
there was an there was an announcement at Comics Pro that and so Dynamite Entertainment, who is basically the king of nostalgia these days, friends of ours and all of that.
Yeah.
The original Man of Action creators are going to return with a new Ben 10 comic.
Oh yeah.
And as someone who is a connoisseur of the nostalgic toy figurines, I think that Ben 10 is a huge. I think Ben 10 to a lot of people is Captain Action to you. I think.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. I have a great coworker who's quite a bit younger than me. 20 years younger. I don't know how much younger he is, but he loves all the Dynamite stuff, being put out, like Gargoyles and
Sure.
Silverhawks and and that stuff. I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's wonderful. It's not my thing, I'm sure it's great. If you get excited about Gargoyles or Gargoyles teaming up with the Fantastic Four, God bless you. That's lovely. But I kind of aged out of that stuff at that time. So
Sure.
I'd say in some ways, like, Ben 10 is great, and that capitalizes, on the nostalgia for folks at that point. I guess they're like late 30s, 40s, and yeah, and that's a key part of it all, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, so all of the Man of Action group folks, Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, Duncan Rouleau, and Steve Siegel are all coming back for it.
Oh man.
You know how that whole thing happened, right?
I'm not sure if I
Have you heard that story?
might have known, but yeah.
So the story is that those guys wanted to go to San Diego, and so they just rented a table. Created a table called Man of Action, and so they could just have a place to sit and hang out and be there. And they didn't have there was no company, there was no nothing. It was just those guys just wanted to go and have a place to hang on the floor at San Diego. And then they talked and came up with this idea for Ben 10, and then took it to a studio, and it became a huge hit.
What a great
cartoon.
Oh, I love it.
That they got, and then they got Dave Johnson involved in some of the design, and
Sure.
it was huge. So yeah, hopefully there'll be some Dave Johnson covers here.
Oh yeah,
but
that's great.
But yeah, so that's big news. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for those people.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Just a few years ago, look, I was very involved with going to Comics Pro. Gee, it must have been about 10 or 15 years ago. And then I went 2 years ago, and it used to be that there was a news embargo, and they didn't let any journalists and people like, Heidi McDonald would be reading tweets and, interpolating, and Rich and all the newsy people, Milton. And then they changed the policy a couple of years ago, and I'm glad they did, because I think it as publishers can reveal things and get good feedback from these leading retailers, there's like about 120 top retailers who are the Comics Pro group, get that feedback for their big announcements, not only the ones that they're just trying to, get them excited about. I think it's really positive. And
I agree. I'm glad. I hope to go sometime.
Yeah,
it looked like it was a fantastic time. Let's talk about Ithacon 2026.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So when is it? What are our dates here for Ithacon?
Oh sure. So Ithacon, as you well know, many of Pop Culture Squad folks know, Ithacon is the nation's second longest running Comic-Con, second only to San Diego. Founded by a bunch of people in Ithaca, New York, which is like this funky little town. And while San Diego grew big and beautiful, and I just love the bigness of it and the nonsense and the crowds, Ithacon purposefully, all the founders wanted to kind of keep it small and keep it kind of homegrown, and they did. And so Ithacon is like a great little show that punches above its weight. Ithacon 2026 is actually, yay, Sherry, is actually Ithacon number 49. And
49. So next year is 50.
And we're kind of planning for 49 and also planning for 50 at the same time. And it's a great show. It'll be at the end of April, so 25th and 26th in Ithaca, New York. The past few years, they've struck a deal with Ithaca College, so it's actually on the Ithaca College campus. And
when did that start happening?
That I think that started happening like for Ithacon 40. I got re-involved, I think Ithacon 43. And so, yeah, maybe 42 or 41. There's a great professor at Ithaca College named Professor Catherine Kittredge, and she's an expert in like children's literature, but she loves graphic novels and runs this graphic novel group as well, teaches classes. And she worked with Bill Turner, the original founder of Ithacon, and started kind of like figuring out a way to host it at Ithaca. And there were a few people who were, few students who were helping run the thing as well. And then I came on board and worked with Catherine, and we developed 2 classes that kind of worked together. And all the people from my class and her class would run the show. And she's got her finger in a lot of pots, so she's still a part of Ithacon and works hard. But I kind of took the lead role as a part of a faculty member, and I teach a course which is all about trade shows and conventions and pop culture, where we talk about all these things like the Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, Netflix deal, and things going on in the world, and plan a convention. So all these students learn how to do the marketing and run registration and give great service to guests and do panel creation. So it's a lot of fun and getting ready for another great year. We've had a few fantastic years in a row, and I'm so excited for this one too. It's a great weekend. As you know, you've been a big contributor to Ithacon as well.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I mean, I do a bunch of shows, but there's something about Ithacon that you I don't know if you turned on your
yeah, I don't know what I did. Oh, okay. Hang on.
Well, that's fine. I'll talk to the hand here. Ithacon is super special because of the way that you run it, because the kids are involved, and it's almost like a new show every year.
Yeah.
Because you get new people involved. There's some holdovers and people who kind of do it. But there are, you get young people who are learning about pop culture and about comics industry and how things work. And it's super fun. I love to help them, with how to go about coming up with a plan for programming. And I think we do a good job of putting together interesting panels so that people we'll have something to do and go sit at. And I think they're pretty well attended.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
lot of fun. What did you do? You need your video on.
I'm not sure. I'm having a little trouble here, and I'm not sure quite what's going on. Yeah. I might have to sign out and come back in or something. I'm not sure.
You should be able to just go ahead and if you look at it, do you have
Yeah, it's actually doing a weird thing where I don't have any of my icons here either.
All right, well, you can come back in. I'll talk about it with Ithacon for a minute.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All
Thanks.
right.
Okay.
So from my perspective, and I want to come back to this, folks. I love Ithacon. I think it's fantastic. I think it's something that we are always going to do. We're always going to be here. Anytime Ed will have us, we'll be there. You get such a great experience with so many different attendees. There's so many different guests who are there from very small indie local creators to people who are making products to sell, to some legendary people. Roger Stern's been there a bunch of years. The folks from Ahoy Comics usually show up at least for a day. The Simonsons have been there a couple of years. I'm there, which I'm not a luminary, but Mike Gold, our partner, usually will come, and I know he's excited to go this year. He's raring to get there. So, and I'll say this, I know Ed's not here yet, and we'll kind of get back to it. But one of the things that when I talk about Ithacon to folks, comic book folks, I think it's really special because I tell them, how it gets made and how it runs, and I get like, wow, that's it's a college students, and that is exciting to comic book creators, particularly because they know how important it is to grow the industry with young people, and young people getting involved and seeing it and meeting people and getting exposure to how things run, and we'll go from there. Oh, I think Ed's coming back, and he's good, and we'll get him back in.
Okay.
All right, so all right, you're back. So
some of the guys from Awesome Con sent a virus on my cell.
It's before your show. I think there is something that's conflicting with your show. I just don't remember what it is, but
oh yeah.
But it's crazy this year. This year's tough because everything's condensed. The World Cup has kind of thrown a lot of shows into difficulty in terms of where they can be and when they can be there.
Yeah.
What is do you have any guest announcements you can make here yet, or we're not there yet? I know we're still early on.
Oh yeah. Well, we can make guest announcements. Ithacon is such a funky show in that I feel, thrilled to get big name guests. And in the past, there's been a fantastic litany of guests. Like when you look back of,
in the history of the show, it's been,
we're going to celebrate for the 50th. Oh my gosh, Murphy Anderson and Al Williamson and, Walter Simonson and Al Milgram and Len Wein and Marv Wolfman, and just like zillions of top people, Shelley Bond more recently. And it's a wonderful list of people. But having said that, there's a certain amount of folks who just love to come back and contribute, and there's a certain familiarity, and everybody who comes back has like so many things to speak about. It's not like everyone's a one-trick pony. So we're just about to announce, I guess I can talk here, a lot of our favorites. We're announcing them now. So people like Mike Gold, who's usually on this podcast, will be coming back. We've got recent guy, Don Simpson, who does Megaton Man, who's been a great contributor.
He loves that show.
Oh, he's fantastic. Roger Stern, who's been a regular for years and years, will be back again. And I was worried there was one thing, but we smoothed everything out.
I was worried. You told me he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, no, he's going to be there now. So
I'm going to tell you. I don't know if I told you this. So there's a guy in comics. His name is Mark Rock. He's now the back. I met him as he was the Creator Alley, organizer for Galaxy Cons.
Oh yeah.
And he took a year off, but now he's back doing that. But last year at Ithacon, he shows up and he was at our table and we walked on. I'm like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing in Ithaca? You don't live anywhere near here."
Yeah.
He's like, Roger Stern comes to this show every year, and I've never met Roger Stern, and I came here so I could meet Roger Stern.
Fantastic. And the nice part too is, our dealers do well. I feel like we get the right fans so that everyone leaves happy. Dealers sell stuff to people who want to buy stuff, but the crowds aren't overwhelming. So I'm sure that Mike was able to spend a little time with Roger and speak to him. He may have had a line, but it wouldn't have been a gargantuan line. Probably was very modest and got up and got to spend some serious time, and that's part of the charm of Ithacon as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So so that's good stuff. I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to being there.
We're thrilled to have you. Dean Haspiel, frequent contributor here. Dino will be here. Jen will be there.
Nice.
Tom Pyre, Frank Camuso. Yeah, we're so thrilled. It's gonna be a great show.
Good. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the fun stuff. Let's we'll probably come back to it, but because I want to when we get the other guys on, I want to talk to them about it a little bit. But so you run Ithacon, you teach at Ithaca College.
I work on Ithacon with some great people. So Bill Turner, the founder, is still very much involved.
Of course.
Carmela Merlot's been a long part of it, and we've got all these hardworking students. And like you say, they're
when I say run, I mean you have some level of organization, and you spend a lot of time on it.
I do. Yes, that is true.
You teach at least how many classes do you teach a semester?
I teach a full load. So so this year I'm teaching 3 undergrad, or this semester 3 undergrad and a graduate level course.
Wow.
And that's
and there's other stuff, but then also you are the editor of Retrofan, which is a Tomorrow's production.
Yeah,
that's fairly new, last couple of years.
Yeah, here you go.
So for some listeners who don't know, first of all, I'll give you that Tomorrow's is a publication that specializes in nostalgia-based products, some in the periodical form, magazine form, some in more book form of things. But it kind of taps into that vein of, hey, you remember when, and so talk about what Retrofan is for.
Oh sure, yeah. And I think the nice part about Tomorrow's is they're all very thoughtful. So if you enjoyed Legion of Superheroes or Jim Aparo's artwork on DC, and you want to really read about that, this is the place to do it. So there's books and articles and magazines. It's not so much like just a quick hit. It's really, oh yeah, there you go. It's really an opportunity to kind of do a deep dive. And there's all these talented writers who contribute to, Back Issue Magazine, Alter Ego Magazine. Alter Ego Magazine, my buddy Artie Kloos did this article. It took him 7 years, he and his wife, all about H.G. Peter, the Wonder Woman artist. There's been a lot about, Marston, but this is all about that artist, and it's just amazing. Retrofan is a magazine that is focused not only on comics, but all pop culture things. So, this particular issue that came out last go round, we had a lot of Adam West Batman stuff in there, and we had some Christmas specials, but also about the real guy who kind of inspired Indiana Jones and all his dinosaur books and his life. And we've got the next issues coming up. We've got things like Billy Blastoff toys and Kryptonite rocks, and we've got a big bicentennial issue we're just putting to bed now, which was all about all the bicentennial trends, everything from fashion to bicentennial.
I'm looking forward to that book. I'll tell you that much.
I know you are. That'll be a great one, and you helped contribute to that one too. So yeah, it's Retro Fans of Hoot. I was writing for one of the other magazines, back issue, and they said, "Would you like to do Retro Fans?" So I thought I was the back issue, enthusiast, but somehow working on Retro Fan with like all these different things with a bunch of different writers has just been a fantastic experience. A little more work than maybe I thought, trying to get more efficient. But if you like to read, if you like to get the inside story on things, it's just a great way to do it. Celebrate all those things you grew up with, or the things that maybe you didn't even know about and you want to learn a little more. I like Twilight Zone, but I never heard about Roald Dahl's show called Way Out, which was on right before Twilight Zone for one season. And reading about that was absolutely fascinating, and learning about it.
What's the thing, since you've been doing, you've been at this over a year now? How long?
Yeah, about a year and change. Yeah.
So what is the most interesting thing that surprised you the most that you've learned in like a factoid or something like that?
Oh, geez, man. I don't know. I guess there's so many things. I don't know. I mean, like, gee, I like a lot of times it's not necessarily like one factoid, but it's a topic that I thought I knew a little bit about and I didn't know anything. Like, we just did a big deep dive into Father Guido Sarducci, the guy who
and where's Mike?
Yeah. And it's like, gee, I kind of thought I knew it. And actually, factoid, Father Guido Sarducci was the character who was on the most episodes of Saturday Night Live. And the guy started off doing something different. And like, till the day his dad died, his dad helped he would get a real job and not be a comedian or whatever. And
we can have that conversation with Mike.
He's a big fan. Yeah.
I'm sure he knows him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's a Chicago guy.
Yeah, right. He talked about how he was in Italy doing a shtick as Father Guido Sarducci, and like the police were going to arrest him for impersonating a priest, which he didn't realize was a crime in Italy. He had to kind of walk him out of it and tell him about the thing, and you can just imagine as he told the tale in the interview, that they're like, wait, you play a priest on TV and you make fun of priests, but you're very pro, the whole bit. So
he's not. I don't know. Is he making fun? I don't know that he's making fun of priests.
No, he was very respectful, and he talks about, like, he's a Catholic guy, and he talked about how he tried to be very respectful, and but Father Guido Sarducci was like, that guy who lived down the street from you, who
he was also a priest.
He was also a priest. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. And, like every issue will have, 10 different articles that you're like, that's kind of interesting. We had one with a fella who wrote all about how he was related to one of the characters in a Star Trek episode. And, that was kind of cool. And, there was a lot there, and, stuff I thought I knew a lot about Star Trek and a lot of Star Trek things, but that was a new one on me.
So, so the latest issue that comes out, what does it come out tomorrow, right? That's the issue 43.
Yeah. So issue 43, last month we were very Adam West. This one, Brady Bunch is kind of our lead feature, where we have interviews with the characters who played Marcia and Greg and Jan. And
nice.
Yeah, and it's a great Mark Vogler, who's the author of that, is deeply talented writer and gets these amazing and has gotten some of these amazing interviews that they haven't been published yet. And then we have a bunch of other stuff like Firesign Theater with all the recordings they did. I was a big Nick Danger fan, and detective show called Burke's Law, children's.
That one I've heard of.
Yeah, Burke's Law was cool. Burke's Law like spawned Honey West, and there was a whole reboot of it, and like everybody guest starred. There was an issue, or there was an episode with I think it was Adam West and Peter Graves, like, you know, two television, you know, iconic figures together. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think this issue we also have, we have a deep dive into Mary Tyler Moore, which was interesting. You know, I kind of watched it and knew a little bit about it, but you know, we go really deep and find all about it. Oh, and then that other one that I kind of touched on was this creepy show called Way Out, which was created by Roald Dahl, like James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and Chocolate Factory. And it's this like creepy lost classic, and only a few episodes are even available, but it's so interesting to see like the things they tried to do and, you know, tried to make happen then.
No, that's so much fun. It is and you can get this at your comic shop, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Available through Lumen distribution.
They can get it. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Available at comic shops.
And you can go to tomorrows.com and you can order it directly from there as well.
Right. And Tomorrows is spelled TWO Morrows. The publisher and the other publisher are married. So it's Tomorrows is the gag. And tomorrows.com, and you can order single issues there. You can subscribe. You can get digital issues. And they also run the most amazing sales. If you're a cheapskate like me and they have one of their big back issue sales, you'll be kind of like, you know, scooping through and like, oh, I really need that John Severin book or that Reed Crandall book. And
well, listen, those sound good.
Yeah, they are good.
No, there are some great other books that they've put out. And how's that been for you? Like to be involved in you know, with an organization like that, where they're, you know, they care about the people that they're getting to make content. And they have this, you know, very diverse readership, I would think, you know.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah, like one of the magazines is all about Lego. The guy who spearheaded that just passed away, sadly. But you know, Lego fans are a little different than Bronze Age fans, who are different than Alter Ego fans, who are different than the Retro fans. So there's a lot of crossover, but it's still a wide group, and it's a big brotherhood of men and women who love, you know, writing about this stuff. And, you know, I'll be frank, like no one's getting rich off this, but the time and energy and sweat and research they do is just incredible. And, you know, it's a great read. And, you know, in days when it's so easy to pick up the damn phone and, you know, waste an hour scrolling, you know, Tomorrow's magazine comes in, mine or one of the other ones, and, you know, it's just like sit down for half an hour and learn something and enjoy it. And I just love it.
And that you mentioned that you were talking about that Father Guido Sarducci stuff. That's in this issue that comes out next week.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yes, exactly. That one comes out in issue number 43, which is the one with Marsha Brady on the cover.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the toughest part about doing this?
One of the things that I struggle with a little bit is working, and you could even see as I was like, wait, is Father Guido Sarducci in this one? Is that it's like playing chess where you're constantly planning issues way out and editing like an issue and then putting another issue to bed. So like right now we're just about ready to put one issue to bed, and then I've got all the articles in, and I'm finishing the editing on the next one and pulling together the images and the captions, and then we're working with writers and artists to line up the best ones in the future, and then also the covers we do way in advance so that they can be in the catalogs too. So it's it's like some Kurt Vonnegut time travel story where you're like, wait, which is out now, or is it the bicentennial one or the 43rd one? Like, to keep track of that.
So the one next after this one that comes out this week is a big retrospective on the Bond girls.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one. So we talk a lot about all the different Bond girls. We've got some good interviews in there, solid, fun interviews.
They look great.
Yeah, we have some top 10 lists. We also have an article about that first James Bond telemovie.
Oh, right.
The American James Bond. And there's a lot of misconceptions about that. And the writer of that is fantastic and kind of walks through exactly what that show is. And there's a couple like weird myths that like the bad guy died, but he gets up, because it was kind of live TV, and that's not really what happened there. And there is a story exists, and the actor did that in a different show. And yeah, that'll be a good one. Big Bond fan, and especially of those, those older Bond, those older Bond movies, and all the ins and outs, and especially those marvelous actors and actresses, and it's a great time to celebrate them.
So I can't thank you enough for doing it. I think that's one of the things we need to do is be appreciative of the people who put in a lot of work for not a lot of money, to do things to bring us information and stories and entertainment. So I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate everything you do,
Sure.
and the work that you do with Ithacon and at Ithaca College. I was mentioned while you were gone about Ithacon is, one of the things that I experience is whenever I talk to people about it, I get these, wow, that's really interesting. Like, oh, it's students putting this on, and students get involved in, and we've talked, there's a guest that we talked about, and we're going to try and get him in there next year, but that really has him excited about it.
Oh yeah, and those students, they work hard, and that part of it is a learning process. That class works best when we have about like half are nerds. They come and like, man, I love anime and manga, and I know everything about it. Or I really like Spider-Man, or I really like Deadpool, and I know everything about it. And then the other half are like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a soccer player. I don't know anything about this, but I want to learn how to manage people and manage events. And together it becomes this great thing, and they learn quick. We're very demanding, and I think I have a reputation on campus too of being like, an upbeat guy, or maybe not chill. I don't even know the right word, but not scolding. But this show, and I used to work for Reed Elsevier. This show is not a kiddie show. So we say right out, this isn't like the college students run a show. This is like a real show run by college students. And and Bill Turner's there every step of the way, and he doesn't suffer fools, and he has a great love for it and expectation. So we set a high bar for ourselves, and we want to make sure
and you deliver. I mean, that's the thing. Every year there's, you're there, you put it out. We mentioned earlier, like that you weren't a fan of the current Green Lantern run. No shade to that. I'm not reading it. But what is it that you are liking?
Oh gosh. Yeah, let's see. In that stack, from DC, loving that Tom King Wonder Woman, and Stephanie Phillips, I think, did the most recent issue.
Stephanie Williams.
Or Stephanie Williams. Yeah, right, Stephanie Williams. And that whole Mouse Man Nose, so clever.
Well, that one went a little long, I thought, but
Yeah, maybe so, maybe so. And then, like, in the other titles, like I'm digging Mark Waid's Superboy in action, having so much fun with that. And
I'm loving that Sky Patridge has gotten some good DC work out of that too. They're fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also I really like, and I'm surprised they do, but out of the Superman books, the Dan Slott Superman Unlimited, for whatever reason, like, I think I kind of just stuck with that title. And I loved the Bendis stuff, and I thought it made a lot of sense to have Superman reveal his identity and the truth in that. And so it's kind of a little crabby about, putting all the toothpaste back in the tube. But yeah, like that book is a lot of fun. And, you mentioned the Ghost Machine books over from Image, and I'm digging those.
My favorite Ghost Machine book is Rockefellers.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I thought for sure you'd say,
Geiger's the big one.
Yeah.
But no, I will tell you, Rockefellers is a comic book. It's a comic book's comic book.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I didn't jump on that one. Maybe I really should. Your reco. Yeah.
Yep. I love it. I definitely recommend it. All right. We are gonna bring in our next guest, and I don't have a huge thing, so you guys aren't getting a big thing. I don't have all that right now. It's been a crazy week, but I'm excited for Ed, for you to meet them. I don't think you've met them. But I want to bring in right now the force behind the Comic Book Couples Counseling Podcast, Brad and Lisa. Hi guys.
Hello.
I love podcast crossovers.
Ed, nice to meet you.
This is so exciting. This is a big thing to us. So even though you didn't give us a big thing, I feel like just our presence, this is thing enough. Your thing's great. That's what I'm saying, Bob Harrison.
I just want to come in and say that the Mouse Man Nose arc was perfect in its length. I really enjoyed that arc.
We're going to get to this.
I knew I liked you, Brad.
I do. I just one issue too. This the last. I was like, all right. It was very good.
I really enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I felt like they've been teasing me with the matriarch for long enough. I'm like, let's get to it already.
Sure.
I think that's
anticipation's a hell of a drug.
It is. All right, guys. I want to get to the stacks, but before we get that, for people who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about what Comic Book Couples Counseling Podcast is? Where did it come from? And I need to tell anybody who's watching this at any point, you just need to go find the podcast. You need to turn it on because you need to hear the best intro of any podcast ever, which is Lisa singing the X-Men theme.
Ooh. Oh yes. In all of
it is parts. The best. I'll just turn it on just to listen to that sometimes.
A cappella. I'm so glad I used my music degree for something that really speaks to people.
I am too. I am so glad to.
Recorded like one take, two takes
in one afternoon. Yeah. I really should have. For as many people who have listened to it, I'm so grateful, but I wish I had put in a little bit more effort.
We keep saying
be on Spotify. Let's just by itself. You should be able to put it in their playlist.
Get some passive income from this thing.
We should probably update the theme song at some point, but it's just too good.
But Comic Book Couples Counseling is an interview podcast that Brad and I do together as partners and lovers. And we talk to comic book creators, but really what we're looking to do is talk about stories and talk about how stories enrich and improve our lives. That's the counseling aspect.
Yeah, the comics are counseling us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that our marriage has actually gotten better, and I feel like I am a better person because of comics, and not just because I enjoy them, but because I have deeply meditated upon them and have specifically looked for life lessons that I can apply to my life.
Yeah. I co-sign that.
I agree with you. It's, people, anybody who knows me knows that my tagline is read more comics. They're good for you. I don't know. Did you see this? Have you seen this back here?
Yes.
This is the should have read more comics.
Yeah.
They should have read more comics. They made, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share it with everybody. So Rogue Prince made this thing, right? It's the patch, right? So I got a patch and they sent that.
Awesome.
So
immediately went up.
That's the great thing about comics for me. And Lisa and I were just talking about this because we only just discovered, discovered's the wrong word. We knew about ElfQuest for a long time, for decades, but only recently did we start reading ElfQuest, and we're like, where has this comic been all our lives?
It's just been waiting to become our next favorite thing. Tell us your story about that.
ElfQuest is the first comic that I ever evangelized to people about. I was reading ElfQuest when I was 12 or 13, 84, I guess. So when the Epic run came out, when Marvel was printing it under the Epic banner, I fell in love with this book. And there was a woman who was a boarder in our house. She was maybe 12, 13 years older than me. So she was in her mid 20s. She had a daughter, but I read comics like crazy. My room was you had to go through my room to get to places, and it was just comics everywhere. But I'm like, you would probably like this book. And so she read it, and she's like, I do love this book. And it was the first comic that she ever read, really, and she loved it. And it made the fact that I was able to tell her, hey, this is something that you might like, and to share it with people was just a magical moment in my life.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And I do think we're ready for a resurgence of ElfQuest. Of course, it's being re-released through Dark Horse, but in the novel space, romantasy is having its moment. Everybody wants to read about fairies and dragons and humans all getting down and getting dirty. And I feel like ElfQuest, as much as it delivers on the amazing art, these elves are really, really hot. It's sexy elves recognizing and getting horny for each other, and then
getting upset about being recognized,
lying back and talking a little philosophical action. I think there are a lot of not yet ElfQuest fans out there not knowing that their next favorite thing is just out there.
So I saw you guys just interviewed them. And is that episode out yet?
It's going to be out tomorrow.
Okay, great.
I don't want to tell you my day.
Jealous.
I lost that audio.
He thought he had lost the audio. I was in the middle of teaching a piano lesson, and Brad calls me and he's like, I have terrible news.
And I spent 3 hours recovering the audio, which I did. And then I edited all the stuff together.
But there was Ivana did not get her money's worth this week from the piano lesson because I was freaking out. I was driven to distraction. But
it's all good. It's all good.
Every podcaster. That's probably why you do it live, Bob. So smart.
Well, there's a lot to that. I'll tell you, the first time I interviewed Philip Kenny Johnson, I think it was the first time. I did not record.
No.
I got to the end to stop the recording, and it wasn't recording.
Well, that's what Brad thought he had done, and we talked to them for 75 minutes.
Yeah.
And he thought, he's like,
and they're lovely. You know, I saw them at Ithacon last year. I talked to them and kind of told them that, and I've seen them a couple of times, and you know, we got to get them on this show too. It's something that Mike's been bugging me about. He's like, at points gone, just get them on. So they're lovely, and they're you know, they're important.
Yeah, they're icons.
You can't again, they're people, and this is one of the things that I you know, coming from a kid who loves sports as well, there's this thing that you think about when you talk about a sports person who should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, can you tell the story of the sport without that person?
Right.
So with the Peonies, you really can't tell the story of comics without them.
Right.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
just the whole
but Ed, now, so you were, you know, a fully grown person when Warp started, and it probably didn't show up in your store, but like, what you've
yeah, I was about 60 then. I just retired from my job, and yeah, that was that book was.
You were a teenager then.
Yeah, no. That, you know, that whole indie thing was just so exciting. And in those days, you'd kind of buy your Marvel books and your DC books, and you get like one or two indie books, and you know, and then little by little, it got to be more and more. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And yeah, and it was great. I was very blessed. We had some of those early comic shops around, and yeah, one of them, like, the guy would go to another comic shop and buy from that shop owner, and then he had like this wealth of things. Like, if you wanted a certain back issue, like I was completing my Sergeant Fury Howling Commandos. Every time he'd come back with like 2 or 3, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take that one and that one, and then it's like, oh wait,
and then sell to you for a markup, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But he was driving like an hour away, and I had
you had to pay for his gas.
Yeah, right. Sure, it was all fair. So it was great.
You guys have. I want to get back into some of your stuff in a little bit, but I want to get people to be aware of. You have started this new video podcast, because you guys have been an audio podcast for years and years now.
Yeah.
But you've now started doing a video thing where you partnered with Third Eye Comics, and you are interviewing creators about what they love as comics, and it's called The Stacks, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
It's the easiest show. It's the easiest show to put together, because we don't actually even interview them. Like, we just put a camera in front of them and we say, hey, pull comics off the shelf and talk about the comics you're pulling off the shelf.
Sure.
And episodes range from like 4 minutes to 40 minutes. It really all depends on what the guest wants to do. And it originated because I was watching the Criterion Closet on their YouTube channel, and I was watching Denis Villeneuve talk about Seven Samurai, and I was just like, man, it's so cool to listen to this filmmaker talk about this master filmmaker and how Akira Kurosawa influences his Dune. And I was like, man, like, why doesn't comics have a Criterion Closet? Like, why can't
there you go.
See cool people talking about cool comics? And I was like, oh man, can we make that happen? And actually, Third Eye Comics is not too far from where we are, and they're getting great guests all the time for signings.
All the time.
And so I just sent an email to Steve, and I was like, Steve, do you know what the Criterion Closet is? And he was like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, what if before people did a signing at your store, they filmed like a little video pulling comics off your shelves and talked about those comics? And he's like, I think that's cool if they want to do it. And so that was the beginning of it. And we shot 7 episodes last year. We actually shot more than that, but we released 7 episodes last year, and we were going to do it in seasons. And so now we're in season 2, and we've shot 10 episodes of that already. And I think the plan is now just to
he's rushing you. I mean, like, it's every week there's somebody you guys want to go talk to.
Yeah. It's
every week I want to go down and talk to somebody.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about the DMV area is there's actually like a bunch of cool comic book creators who live in this area. So in addition to the signings, the people who come in for those signings, we're calling up Philip Kennedy Johnson and Cami Garcia and Tom King and be like, hey man, you got a half hour? Can you come to the mothership and record an episode?
Did you get Cami?
Not yet. But it's
we're putting it into the universe.
Conversations are in process.
Listen, she was on the show last month. She was here.
She's great.
I love her. Yes, absolutely. I went. Here's my best Cami story at Third Eye. Was I went down there to, and this is, nobody can know about this, so we're not going to put it on the internet. But I went down there when Steve Orlando was there with Jose Andres. And I just went. So I think was that the week I was supposed to go out with Steve. Steve and I were supposed to have lunch, but I need to go down and just kind of say hi to him for a second. But I wasn't gonna it was the line. You've never seen the line. It was the most ridiculous. Like literally, the lieutenant governor had come to the shop to meet Jose.
Wow.
And so I kind of parked around, and my wife and I kind of walked. Sherry and I walked in, and I walked in the front door and kind of was just going to walk around and just say hi to Steve for a minute. And Cami was there, and she's like, "Oh, we're just cutting." She's like, "Bob, come here. Come on, let's go. We're going in front, and we're just going to say hi first." And I'm like, "Okay."
You do what Cami says.
Oh yeah.
You do what Cami says. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Jose Andres needs to come back for this Meals to Astonish series, and we need to get him in the stacks.
Ooh, I wonder what he's reading.
Yeah, I bet you he will.
Yeah, well, you never know.
That book that they did together, I thought was fantastic and super underrated. I when Steve handed it to me, I'm like, you're gonna win an Eisner. Like this is, and the fact that it didn't get the press it should have, disappointing.
Yeah. I didn't read it until after
had something to do with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
But let's talk about the stacks. What's the interesting things you guys are learning here?
It's like now that we've published 10 episodes so far, and it is fun to see the titles that come up multiple times. Darwin Cook has gotten a lot of love. Ed Brubaker, John Phillips have gotten a lot of love. But to me, it's all about those surprise comics, right? Joshua Williamson was the recent episode, and giving him a moment to talk about Matt Wagner and Mage was a lot of fun. And then of course he can't just talk about Mage, he has to throw in a little love for Wagner's Batman story, Faces. And it's like, oh man, I haven't read Faces since maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago. So I gotta go grab Faces. So that's those are the real treats for me.
I just love seeing the unbridled joy creators have when it comes to pulling a comic off of the shelf at a comic book store. Like they're immediately transported to an era in their life. They end up telling personal stories. And, a lot of times when we hear interviews, we hear creators talking about themselves and their process. And talking about yourself can be so complicated. You get mixed up in false humility, or you get mixed up in trying to promote and sell. And it's, and when you just see a creator talk about a thing that they love unfiltered, it's just such a pure experience.
It's
that I feel like you don't get.
It's one of the things, I agree with you. A lot of times that's a question that I will throw at people, so they don't sit in there talking about themselves. What was the comic that moved you? What was the comic that, and you get weird answers sometimes, I think my favorite weird answer is I asked Alex Packnadell, what was the comic that made him fall in love with comics? And his answer is Strike Force Morituri.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
didn't see that one coming.
No, nobody. But the funny part is, I had Dan Waters on last week, and I asked him the question, and I'm like, I can tell you what Alex said. You know, they're mates from back in the day, and I told him it was that, and he's like, yeah, Alex loves that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We just the last episode we recorded was with Nick Dragata, and what was fun about his recording is he took the selection of comics very seriously.
He meditated on it,
and he was getting really frustrated because he did come into the shoot with like an idea of like, well, I want to talk about Alien Salvation, but because the Alien comics are now under Marvel, that Salvation book hasn't been re-released under their brand, so you can't get Alien Salvation. And he was so like crestfallen. And he was a little like Charlie Brown walking around the shelves looking for something that could be almost as good as Alien Salvation.
Is it not? Is it not?
It's
not. I mean, obviously it's not in print, but you can still get it.
You can still
yeah,
get
but
it.
like Third Eye, like is not a portal to another realm where all books are in print.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's what they have in the store that day, and I do think that adds a certain amount of challenge.
Yeah, I think what's cool about Third Eye
because it's such a huge store, and there is limited space.
Yes,
that you can only have what's on the shelf, right?
Yeah, but Steve and Trish do such a great job of curating their store. Like when you walk into Third Eye, you do feel like there is a hand at work in filling those shelves.
There's
it's
a point
not
of view.
Just dumping books to fill the space.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with you. It's interesting. You know what's funny about the best part about Third Eye? We're spending a little time about them, but if you've been to Third Eye Comics, first of all, the outside wall is just every comic that's been out in the last 6 months is just there. But there is a spot where there's some back issues, and not a lot. But those back issues, I'll bet you they have to turn those over pretty quickly, because the back issues that are in that little beautiful container with the resin doors, they're the ones that everybody's going to want. They do a great job of putting a show.
An enormous warehouse full of back
I know.
issues.
Have you been to the bargain shop?
Hell
we
yeah.
have, yeah.
So when it opened, I brought Philip Johnson. I'm like, come on, let's go down and check this out. So we went through, and I'm like, oh, here, you need to buy this. You need to buy this.
Yeah. We spent like, I don't know, 4 hours at that warehouse filling up a short box of comics.
Yeah.
Pure bliss.
So fun.
You guys have been doing this. When was it? How long has it been now?
The podcast just hit its 7th anniversary, which is crazy to think about.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You've now built a following, and you've carved out a spot in this world that we love. And I talk to people about you all the time, and we talk about, and there's so much love for you guys, and you now have written comics. You've written comics. Hey,
comics exist that we did script. that is true.
Listen, there are things that are out there in the world that have your name on it. You need to hold on to.
We've written 7 pages of comics.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
works. Yeah.
You're comic book writers.
Yeah. We're working on it.
But you go to shows that you can, and you do panels and stuff like that, and you've hosted the Harveys the last 2 years. Hopefully a third. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Are you what's the most crazy thing to you about this? How does this hit you? Do you think this is just the way what was supposed to happen? Do you think
No, I definitely don't think it was the thing that was supposed to happen. I do think that when Lisa came up with the idea for comic book couples counseling, it was something that I wasn't so sure about initially, but once I leaned into her idea, and
she's never wrong.
Yeah, she's never wrong.
Especially when it comes to finding files you thought you lost.
And yes, Lisa did save the day today. And the way that Lisa approaches comics is so different than how I grew up reading comic books. And I think she has broadened my horizon in terms of how I approach all stories now. I don't know if this was like, it was definitely not destiny. It was something that we came together, collaborated on, and discovered a true joy in the creation process of this podcast.
Collaboration truly is like our love language. Like, you know, my friends know, like, if you really want to get quality time with me, we have to have a project together. You know what I mean? We have to be doing something.
Yeah, it's got to be a book club or something.
Yeah. So like, so I think that Brad and I creating something together was kind of inevitable. Like, to me, the thing that's to me, I think what's exciting is like a bunch of people wanted to have the kinds of conversations about comics that I wanted to have.
Yeah. And
what is that though? What is that? What is it? The conversation you want to have about comics?
To me, every time I encounter any kind of story, it doesn't matter if it's a movie, if it's a novel, if it's a comic, I am looking for myself and I'm looking for answers. I'm very much like a seeker.
You're a thematically forward consumer.
Yeah. And I'm extremely like, I don't know, like moralistic, I guess. And I really, when I read a comic, I really want for it to be saying something to me specifically. And I think that when you approach everything looking for, not asking questions, but still looking for answers, you just never know what you're going to find. And I think like when it comes to doing interviews, we ask questions, I think, that other people, especially Brad at first, would find awkward or intrusive or hippy dippy. You know what I mean? But
no. Okay. Well, Brad, you need to adjust yourself.
Oh, he has. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 years. If he couldn't put up with it, I mean, it wouldn't still exist. But...
you know, our biggest fights in our marriage have all been podcast related.
Yeah, we both have a point of view. But yeah. So I just feel like we have different conversations about comics than other people have.
Yeah, I feel so shallow after I hear the way you read comics and what you look for, Lisa. That sounds fabulous.
I think I feel a lot of that, you know, in the way that I read comics. Like I will say, and I tell people, I think that I am who I am because I started reading comics when I was, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think I'm the reader that I am because of comics. But also there are things about reading comics when I was younger that made me who I am. There are, I look for the good in people. I look for the heroic act. Anybody who's spent any time with me knows that I am not the fan of the anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
I have one Venom book. I own one book.
Lethal Protector.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everybody has 4 copies of that. And I got it because it was given to me. But it's funny. I posted I don't know if you guys saw it. I posted something yesterday about how I'm looking forward to the Legion of Superheroes coming back, and I mentioned it earlier on the show. And I'm like, I miss them. I miss those characters because I miss the friendships. I miss the romance that they had with each other. I miss the heroism that they had. The concept of trying to make their universe better, that they struggled with in all of those things. I also mentioned that it doesn't need to have a Superman in it, but and then Adam Nave responded and said, as long as they have that, the kids are so full of hope that they're going to change the future, they'll get it right. And I think that means a lot. I think it's the thing about comics is that while there's tremendous amount of genre, But like one of the things about the heroic aspect of comics is that we want to make the world a better place. We want the world to be a better place. We want people to be fighting in that manner. That doesn't, I mean, there's plenty of horror that's also interesting. There's plenty of detective stuff that's interesting. There's plenty of romance in other ways. And that's the thing about it, is that you can have all of these things. But I think that was the core of what moved me to it. And then I was exposed to so many other things.
Yeah.
With me, Mage was important because the first comic show I went to, which was like a VFW hall, where there was just like a bunch of retailers. It was like 86. And all I knew was what was on the spinner rack at the local convenience store. We go to this show and there's Mage and Cerebus and Turtles, and they're all these black and white stuff. And I'm like, what's this?
Oh gosh.
It's just so there. Even, and from that point on, it just becomes something that there are stories that are challenging you, asking you to ask questions. And when you look at it that way, it's beautiful.
I feel like comics really have given me the vocabulary to talk about heroism and optimism and those sorts of things, having those like cultural touchstones to say like, I want to be like this or I want to be like that is really valuable.
Yeah. I mean, I echo a lot of what you just said, Bob, and what Lisa just said there. I think for me, I don't necessarily need them to be, moral or likable characters. Like, to me, the medium itself is so compelling. And I think sometimes we don't talk enough about the medium of comics and the way that stories are delivered through the sequential form. And comics for me are such a great gateway to humanity, because they are the blending of they're the blending of words and pictures, right? And they exist on the page at the same time. And what I like most about comics is how full of relationships they are. And what's great about superhero comics is they're mostly just relationship comics. Like they do tend to get like plot heavy, and that can drive me crazy. But if we're just like hanging out with the X-Men playing basketball, like, yo, that's my jam.
Yeah. I mean, I remember being little and reading Teen Titans, like the first Baxter edition. And I remember telling my mom, like, I wanted to tell her the entire story about what was going on in this amazing comic. Like, Dick and Corey, they're in bed together. She's naked in the bed. And like, you got it. It's really cool. And like, and then Raven comes and it's all crazy stuff going on. But then we get later on in the series and she has to leave and he doesn't know what to do. And he struggles with that. Like that whole concept is funny. I was just thinking about it earlier today. That
I'm just so glad your mom let you keep reading the comics.
No kidding.
Yeah. Corey's
mom's a nudist. What do you want me to
say? Yeah. I had a Legion comic like that, Bob. It was a backup issue. I gotta find the number. It was like a backup in, what was it in? World's Finest or something. And like two of the Legionnaires go, and when they come back, everybody is gender swapped. So like Princess is a boy. Like it's this weird. And I can remember asking my grandmother, my Italian grandmother, about it. And, her head explodes. Like, what is this thing that you're reading? Like, I don't understand.
That sounds like a Carrie Bates book.
Yeah, I think like Jack Abel Inks or something. Yeah, I got to find that one. It's ridiculous. But asking, the parental figure is just a kooky thing.
I did read staple comics as a kid, and but like when it came to like television, we were allowed to watch whatever we wanted to watch if it was educational. Like we could only watch cartoons on Saturday morning, but if it was educational, we could watch it during the week. And I think that that's part of where I come from, going like, well, what can I learn from this comic? Exactly. Well, how is this educational? Because I have to make sure. that is worth my time, worth my attention.
Mom, Young and the Restless, I'm learning about this new banking system.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, the other thing I was going to say about relationships is, even when you get past that, like, I love the art in comics, and I love the whole notion of, like, one penciler and one inker, and they have different styles, and they come together, and it's glorious. And then there, people team up and dance with different partners, and writers and artists, of course, and that like that kind of relationship is really, really fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their favorite, like, Jack Kirby inker, right? Like,
Yeah, sure.
And their favorite and their least favorite Jack Kirby.
100%.
Yeah, but that's the same guy for everybody. So
Yeah,
that's true.
And I think that's also what's been so fun about the podcast is just like recognizing the relationships and how what's going on inside a creator is shaping the comic. One of my favorite episodes that we did last year was our conversation with Daniel Warren Johnson about his Absolute Batman Annual, and how like for him that book was just an expression of how he was frustrated, angry, and feeling in that moment. And yeah, it's a Batman story, and we can talk about like how it brings the absolute Batmobile into the narrative. But really, that was just one guy going like, "I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore." And that one guy was Daniel Warren Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect example. It's interesting. It's interesting being where we are, right? Having access to these creators, knowing them in certain ways, so that when you read something that they've written or that they've drawn, or that you have an idea about them as people, it changes how you do you find that happens? Like you're like, oh, I know where that's coming from.
Totally. And when we read that Absolute Batman Annual, we were not planning on doing an episode on it. But once we got done with that issue, we're like, Dan, we need to get you on the podcast. Please come on the podcast and talk about this comic.
Right.
He was, grateful enough, or we were thankful enough that he said yes to do that.
Don't you love it when you read something, you're like, I need to get you to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
You know what? One of the things that with me, have you read And We Love You?
No.
By Fellhound?
No.
Go find it.
We love Fellhound.
Make sure you have tissue. Go find that book and make sure you have a box of tissues. Ooh. Because I read it and I cried my eyes out, and I'm like, I need you on the show. We have to talk about this.
I actually may have read that actually now that we're talking about it.
There's a lot of color.
Yeah. Fellhound, their books are also like a wonderful comic book, right? This like motorcycle jousting book, but it's all about the relationships that's happening inside two people. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
they're
think
brilliant.
of stories as conversation starters. And we've occasionally, not often, like have gotten artists going like, well, the book should really speak for itself. And
you're like, be quiet, David Lynch.
But like, no, I mean, I understand if the creator doesn't want to do an interview, a little rude, especially if you're on the show, but whatever. But like, the art can speak for itself, but then we have to speak to each other. Like, art has the capability of changing the world, but that doesn't happen if we don't then continue the conversation that started with the story. The story can't exist in a vacuum,
Yeah.
It's a story. I mean, we talk about this all the time. We kind of always come back to it. It's somebody's trying to tell us something. They're not. It's not just whether it's film, whether it's prose, whether it's poetry, whether it's comics, whether it's music. There is an artist out there. There's someone who is trying to tell a story, trying to move someone emotionally or intellectually. And I think it's such that comics is such an amazing medium for that. Because you got two shots at it, really. I mean, three if you put it all together. Like, you got the art can move you, the story, the words can move you, but if you put them all together, you got that third option where it takes life. And I just think it's I don't have enough time in the day to read all the comics I want to read.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah.
Or all the comics that I've already purchased.
Well, that too. There's a lot of that. This is just needs to go into the database.
Yeah.
This is I've read these. There's a lot around here that I haven't read yet.
Oh
man, you're a database guy. I'm so jealous. I wish I was a record keeper. It's not my temperament.
I just need to know. I got to put them away, so I want to put them somewhere where I want to know where they are. Like, the database worked because I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell a story on this show. Here's this. So, who's familiar with this? Are you familiar with this comic?
Sure. Jeff Jones.
It is Jeffrey Catherine Jones.
Yeah.
So this is Wonder Woman number 199. This is a very famous cover. It's because it's like a bondage cover, and Jeffrey Catherine Jones drew this. And this comic was the very first Wonder Woman comic that was published after Sherry was born.
Wow.
I gave this to her as our wedding present, as my wedding present.
Sweet.
Oh, I would have married you if I knew you were giving comics.
What?
I would have married you if I knew you were giving comics.
So, we got Denny O'Neil to sign it years ago, and I was talking to Walter Simonson at one point, and I said, we were talking about, their relationship. We were talking about Jeffrey Catherine Jones and how he's like, I remember I was looking at this drawing, this painting that Jeffrey had done, and I could tell that the characters in this were Bernie Wrights and Louise Simonson. And like, he could just tell, right? So he goes, so I said, hey, what about, and everyone knows that Louise is on the cover of House of Secrets 92, that she's signed tons of those. And I said, well, is she the model for this? And I told her, I said about it. He's like, I don't remember. I don't know. You'd have to ask Louise. So I saw Louise later, and I said, were you the model for that thing? And she's like, I don't remember. And I showed her the cover. She's like, oh yeah, that's me. And so now this is signed by Denny O'Neil and Louise Simonson.
Awesome.
That's rad. That's fun.
That's so great.
Great story.
Yeah.
Great stories. Like, but I needed to know where it was, and the database told me what box it was in.
Yeah, I know it's smart. And if I had a database, I could put my hands on my Stephen Bissett Tyrant comics that I've been looking for the last 2 weeks.
That would be problematic. Yes, exactly.
I know I got them.
They're there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah. So are you guys going to AwesomeCon?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And we have a panel at AwesomeCon this year. We're on it with Sean Eastrich, who hosts the Missing Frames podcast, which is a great film podcast. And he wanted to do a panel on Supergirl and the future of the DCU. And how can we say no to that?
Sure. We'll be there. I'll be there. So we'll do something. We should grab dinner.
Yeah, for sure.
This is so the episode, the Josh Williamson episode just came out today or yesterday?
Yes. Yesterday.
When is the next Stacks episode coming out, and who is it?
Every Tuesday will be a new Stacks episode.
Awesome.
And this upcoming Tuesday will be Matthew Rosenberg, and he talks for like 35 minutes. And initially I was like, we got to edit this down. And then I was like, nah, it can be giant sized, right? Let's just do a giant sized episode of the Stacks. And then following that, we're working out the order a little bit, but we've got Jorge Corona, Morgan Beam, Frank Barbieri, Tyler
I was there
Boss,
for that
Nick
signing.
Dragata.
What's funny is because like I know who's coming because I know who's
Yeah, you're in line.
You're plugged in.
I was in line.
You got the scoop.
Yeah,
I was in line. I was in line for Josh, but I didn't wait. I just wanted to say hi to Josh.
Yeah, Steve just told me some names of some potential signings coming up later in the year, and they say yes to the Stacks. That'd be pretty cool. So
That sounds fantastic. I love the fact that you guys are doing this. I love the fact that you guys do the show, and comic book couples counseling podcast is well regarded amongst comic fans and creators, and I just thank you guys for keep doing it.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Really appreciate it. It's a real treat to finally be on the show. A long time coming.
I like I said, I love podcast crossovers. I think it's like it because we do this thing, like we have this, and I hope people will enjoy it, but like we spend a lot of time trying to, evangelize this medium, and you guys and I, we know what that's like, what it's like to try and get people to like, hey, check this out. You put somebody onto something, in the older vernacular,
Yeah. And
hip.
With the Stacks, we're also trying to get all kinds of people into these episodes, so not just comic book creators, but like Torma from Oni Press, he's coming in from the publicity department. We're going to get an episode with him. It'd be cool to get some other podcasters into the Stacks as well, Bob.
Let me know.
Okay,
I'd love it.
I love it. Book it.
Done.
Absolutely love it. You guys, thank you so much for being here. We're running out of time. Again, I know you guys, this was a quick turnaround, and you hit me, and I knew I wanted to talk to you guys, and it was perfect timing. And Ed, thanks for being here. The other part is you guys, you should think about going up to Ithacon sometime.
Yeah, would love to have you guys, and we typically have a podcast panel. Ooh. And it'd be great. It'd be fantastic.
We're trying to expand our con network, so for sure.
This have a conversation at the end of April, and next year will be our 50th anniversary. That'll be a super big one too. So
I think we could definitely make the 50th.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Listen,
don't write off 49.
We will talk about this
year too.
Okay.
Getting you guys up there is important. And Ed, thanks for being here. Thanks for talking about Retrofan as well. We're looking forward to that. And everybody else, I'm gonna let you guys go. And thanks so much for being here. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks. So long. Bye now.
Bye, Ed.
Okay, so long. Thanks, Bob.
All right, folks. We are going to be back next Tuesday. Hopefully, Mike will be better. We have Moni Barrett, who's going to be on here. She's a comic book librarian, and we're going to talk about, it will be Women's History Month, and we're going to spend a lot of time in March talking about women in comics and their place and where they go. I hope you're here. I hope you keep coming back. Make sure you watch this episode. If you're catching it late, go back and catch an earlier version of it. Subscribe, follow us wherever you are. We are going to be here and talking about comics for as long as you'll have us. So whether you have us or not, we're going to do it. And thanks for watching. Read more comics. They're good for you. They're good for your soul. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?